I find the Ben Shapiro thing really interesting, guys. And you know why? Because it's like regime change, okay? Because Ben Shapiro helped build this monster. He did. He helped build this monster by being aggressive and you know, hypercritical and gathering the, like, circling the wagons around everybody, putting everybody on his daily wire and weaponizing these people, helping them grow. Crazy fuckers like Crowder and Matt Walsh, really terrible fucking human beings. And he monetized that shit, and now they're gonna eat him. Now the leopard has shown up, and they're like, God damn, Ben, we like your face. We're gonna bite that shit off. And it's like, fuck you, Ben. And Tucker and all these guys, right? Let them just eat each other. You know, I'm serious. Dude, I'm serious, man. When that shit comes around, dude, it is going to be a brawl. And during this, we're going to take the house back. These guys are such losers, bro.
If we agree with the guest, that's fine, but we should own it. So, for example, if you host a Hitler apologist, Nazi-loving, anti-American piece of refuse like Nick Fuentes.
Oh, there it is. Dude, Tucker hosted Nick Fuentes. Oh.
You know.
See, the people in the crowd, though, are cheering for Nick Fuentes. Did you see that? Like, that's the thing that the Republicans have in TPUSA, is he talks about Tucker hosting Nick Fuentes, but the people in the crowd are not cheering because Ben Shapiro's calling out Tucker. They're cheering for fucking Nick Fuentes. Okay? That's the root of this problem, is they're cheering for the Hitler lover.
Nazi-loving, anti-American piece of refuse like Nick Fuentes.
They're like, Fuentes!
You know, the Nick Fuentes who said that the Vice President of the United States is a, quote, fat gay race traitor married to a Jeet. The person who said that Charlie Kirk was a, quote... Dude, everybody was talking about Fuentes. Like, he probably was so happy with himself that, you know what I'm saying? He's watching this and like, holy shit, I am the star. Dude, he wants to knee them in the nuts so badly. Retarded idiot. The person who said, and pardon my language here, it's his quote, that he, quote, took Turning Point USA and fucked it, and that's why it's filled with groypers. If you have that person on your show and you proceed to glaze him, you ought to own it.
Dude, did he really say that? He said he fucked TPUSA and now it's filled with groypers. Dude. Like, they are so funny, bro. Oh, my God, dude. What a bunch of fucking losers. Yeah, that cheer, dude, I feel like they had to raise the audience sign on that one. The people don't even know what they're cheering for.
There is a reason that Charlie Kirk despised Nick Fuentes, and indeed even chided Dinesh D'Souza for debating him. He knew that Nick Fuentes is an evil troll, and that building him up is an act of moral imbecility.
Yeah, but the fact of the matter is Charlie Kirk and Nick Fuentes were like 2 centimeters apart. Okay? That's really it. Like, they were the same thing. It's just Charlie was plugged into the money and Nick Fuentes was like more open about the shit, acting like they were very different. They weren't, man. They both used scripture and power mongering and flipping the truth on its ass and manipulating and subterfuge. The whole thing, like a lot of lies and you know, trying to shatter things from the inside.
And that is precisely what Tucker Carlson did. He built Nick Fuentes up. And he ought to take responsibility for that, just as he ought to take responsibility for glazing pornographer and alleged sex trafficker Andrew Tate, or for mainstreaming fake historian and pseudo-Nazi apologist Daryl Cooper as America's best and most honest popular historian. Hosts are indeed responsible for the guests they choose and the questions they ask those guests.
Oh! Dude, so he's attacking Tucker, but dude, this guy runs deep, okay? Because we have Benny Johnson out there. You know, they talked about Tate, but we have Benny Johnson who was getting into the Tate shit too.
Hey.
Hello, Alina.
Hi. Nice to meet you. I'm a big fan.
Right? Remember when Benny Johnson was platforming Andrew Tate and 𝗦𝗂𝗽𝗧𝗏 is out here like, oh, I'm a big fan. And then like 2 weeks later, she was like,
the accusations against the Tate brothers are stomach churning.
Oh, the accusations against the Tate brothers are stomach churning. Well, I'm a big fan. Oh, stomach churning. Remember this, dude? Oh my God. So they all are slaves to whoever gives them a little cha-ching, right? Whoever throws them a little cha-ching, they will platform. Okay? They don't care. They don't fucking care, man. They're there to just create controversy, get some clicks, get some money. Okay? But now let's see Tucker, though, because now we have Tucker coming in with his little side. His little piece of the pie.
I just got here, and I feel like I missed the first part of the program. Hope I didn't miss anything meaningful. But I just want to say, I don't think I did. No, I'm just kidding. I watched it.
Dude.
I laughed.
Oh!
I laughed. That kind of bitter, sardonic laugh that emerges from you when, like, Upside Down World arrives. When your dog starts doing your taxes, and you're like, wait, it's not supposed to work this way.
Dude.
To hear calls for like deplatforming and denouncing people at a 𝗙𝗏𝗏 event, I'm like, what? This is hilarious.
Dude, when your dog starts doing your taxes, that's funny. Dude, Tucker and Ben both have like no charisma, right? You know what I'm saying? Like nobody's really like, oh my God, that was a good one, because they're not artists. They're not comedians in any way. And dude, Tucker has the worst fucking laugh. But the fact that he is equating Ben Shapiro to a dog doing your taxes is like you can't even take him remotely serious, which for these guys, you know, Ben hearing that is not liking that. You know, that's like a nerd burn is what it is. You know what it is? It's like two nerds that have no charisma digging each other like right on the PowerPoints, dude. Dude, it's so good. Oh, I love to see it. We love to see it.
Yeah, this is hilarious. Actually, one of the clips I was listening to myself, thinking as I often do when I hear myself speak, which is never, because I never watch myself, but at these events, I always play like the role of you. And I'm like, that guy is pompous. Woo! Sorry about that. We don't see ourselves clearly. But the prediction that, you know, at some point when Republicans took power again, which I did everything I could, you know, to help, and really felt that was important. I still think, you know, I was right. But I really thought that the impulse to deplatform people, or even to use the word platform as a verb, which it's not, it's a noun, don't steal my nouns.
So he's so mad.
And denounce. Why haven't you denounced somebody else? The whole like Red Guard Cultural Revolution thing that we so hated and feared on the left, that we did everything we could to usher in a new time where you could have an actual debate. I mean, this kind of was the whole point of Charlie Kirk's public life. And I think that he died for it. I really believe that. And I know a lot about it because the last several months of Charlie's life were devoted in part to arguing about this event, in fact, this speech, in fact, my speech here, which he asked me to do earlier this year, this summer, and was immediately put under just immense pressure from people who give money to Turning Point, I would assume good people, but who wanted him to take me off the roster. And this has all become public, and the whole thing is so sad that I never talk about it, except to say Charlie stood firm in his often stated and deeply held belief that people should be able to debate, and that if you have something valid to say, if you're telling the truth, you ought to be able to explain it calmly.
If you're telling the truth, please.
And in detail to people who don't agree with you, and that you shouldn't immediately resort to shut up racist. You shouldn't immediately go to motive. By the way, shut up racist is the #1 reason I voted for Donald Trump. And
dude, what an idiot. Bro, these guys are idiots.
Because they're just sick of it. I mean, first of all, if I was a racist, if I was a bigot, I would just say so. Okay, it's America. You're allowed to be whatever kind of person you want. I'm not.
Yeah, if I was a racist or bigot, I'd just say so. No, you wouldn't. Shut up,
I'm sincerely opposed, have always been, and will always be. But the style of debate where you prevent the other side from talking or being heard because you immediately go to motive, well, I wonder why you're asking that question. I wonder why. Why are you asking that question? I detect in the question a certain evil in your soul. And everyone listening should know that listening to you implicates them. And that they someday may be asked to denounce you. And that friendship is not a reason to defend someone.
Oh!
Love is no defense. I kind of thought we'd reached the end of that. And as far as I'm concerned, we have. And I'm not going to play by those rules.
Dude!
I'm not going to engage in that. If someone doesn't like what I think, fine with me, as long as I get to express it. That's my view.
Dude, he just kicked Ben Shapiro in the nuts. And can I just say, though, that, like, dude, this shit is not going to resolve well. Okay? This shit is not going to resolve well, man. And you know why? I think I know why. Because the thing is like JD Vance, I know he has like Erica Kirk polishing his knob. Oh, we're fully behind JD Vance. But like the rest of the Republican caucus, they don't like JD Vance, guys. They don't. I'm telling you, none of these people like JD Vance. He has no charisma. He fucking called Trump America's Hitler. And now he's just polishing the knob because he thinks it's going to get him the presidency. He has no allegiance. He's awkward. He hasn't earned it, right? He exactly. He jumped the line. Well put. Okay, he was like totally anti-Trump, and he's a bandwagoner, is what he is. He's a fair weather fan who's trying to jump to the front of the line. And I think many of these guys, they want to kneecap him, dude. They want to fucking kneecap him. Because they know he doesn't deserve it. They know he doesn't even mean it. You know, he doesn't even mean it. Dude, his whole life is fake. Okay, Meemaw and Appalachia, the kid was raised in a posh suburb of fucking Cincinnati. He went to Ohio State. He joined the military because he wanted to go into politics. He went to Yale Law School, and then he immediately went and worked VC in Silicon Valley. The guy never had a day job in his life, okay? It changed his name like 3 times his whole life. You know, Meemaw and the Hillbilly Elegy, trying to be like a screenwriter and shit, right? Writing books. His whole life is like a fabricated technocrat, you know, like almost like a Nepo baby who's not even a Nepo baby. Dude, his whole life is just sucking up to the money to jump to the front of the line, dude. Dude, yeah, he is from a suburb of Cincinnati. He is not any more Appalachian than I am, for Christ's sake, Meemaw. What is he talking about? And so they're just simply going to try and like take each other over and jockey for party power.